Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Seth and Beth podcast. Easton Reynolds is on. Beth, how are you?
Good, that was a little loud.
Easton Reynolds is on today. Easton, we've been friends for so long now.
So long.
I think we both, I looked up to you a lot, and I finally wanted to meet. I never thought I was good enough.
Well, you looked up to his hair. You really wanted to model your hair like his, but he's still better.
That's true. We met at Mystic maybe 3 years ago or something.
Oh.
Yeah, for the first time.
We finally met because we have so many mutual friends,
And we
beautiful
embraced.
friends. Yes.
You raced?
Embraced.
Embraced.
Oh, embraced. Oh, I thought
Yes.
you raced.
That's
fun.
that's coming. We'll get to that.
You're fast, honey.
Easton, how are you?
Good, man. I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for...
Yeah, it was, this is a little spur of the moment. I know we talked about this. I assumed you were too busy, but I'm glad that you're here because I know you're all over the place. You do have a lot of things going on in the world.
He's a bad mamma jamma.
That's right. So how did all this start? Obviously, your big thing now is Facebook ads, right?
Yeah.
Training photographers on how to kill it with Facebook ads. We need all the help we can get.
We do.
That.
We have some Facebook ads that aren't working right now.
That's right. And so...
I see why I'm here.
So now
Making my
Easton's
laptop.
going to tell us how to do this. No, but we might get to that too. But first, start back. Tell the folks, the podcast viewers on YouTube, what got you to this point in life. What was your old photography company? Lou Ray, of course.
Lou Ray.
Tell me about you a little bit. Give me the last 10 years. I want to know it.
Yeah, so it's all my wife's fault. Right, really.
Gotta blame someone.
Yeah, I mean, we have to place blame, right?
That's not. I've tried that shtick. It doesn't work too well. So,
Well, see, mine's not here right now. Yours is sitting next to you.
Yeah, she won't see this until later. So okay, go on.
Yeah, basically, we got married and we're starting to have a kid, and she always did photography as a hobby. And I was like, babe, your pictures are really good. You should maybe do this more. And she's like, no. And I'm like, but we need to make money because we're having a kid. And she's like, all right.
What'd you guys do before that?
Worked in corporate America. Both of us for a time were working at T-Mobile, selling cell phones. And actually learned a lot in cell phone industry about marketing. We can touch on that later.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of helped me in my career now. But it basically just started with me kind of pushing her to do it. And she started doing it, and she got on the not.com, right? And when you're under the $3,000 price point.
People call?
Yeah, people call. And back 10 years ago, people called a lot more than they do now, since it's now completely oversaturated. But she started doing really good by herself, and by the second year, I started assisting her. And then I fell in love with it. And then we accidentally hit six figures in the second year.
Mm-hmm.
And we were
quite an accomplishment.
We were so cocky about it. And then by the fourth year, we almost lost everything because we didn't have any systems in place, no strategy, no nothing. We were just kind of new. And so we hit the market hard and, got all these weddings and we're making money. And it was like, we're the shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we weren't.
And then we weren't.
Right? And I remember we went from $278,000 from the previous year, and it was January of that current year, and we're looking at the books going, we only have $75,000 on the books. That's a lot less.
Yeah.
How are we going to fix this
Especially when you're
problem?
comfortable making
Yes.
that
Right.
much money just the year before.
Right. And so I had to sit myself down and be like, what is happening? What did you allow to happen? How do you not have your, finger on the pulse of this business? It is your living, it's your income, it's everything, right? And so I was like, all right, we need a way to be able to generate consistent leads on demand. I'm sick of getting to December and freaking out because I'm looking at next year and going, how do we only have 4 weddings, right?
Yeah.
And that stress to me makes it so I can't do anything else. It becomes obsessive and I have to fix the problem. And I start not having the right tone with my wife. She's like, can you take out the trash? And I'm like,
The weddings, honey.
Because everything just irritates me because I'm like, we don't have any money. I don't feel like I'm providing for my family, and that kind of
You
thing.
take it on personally?
Oh, yeah. It becomes a very personal thing for me.
Do you take it on personally if things happen with us?
That's interesting, Beth. I don't know.
I know.
I'm stumped.
All right.
I mean, it's tough for everybody,
Right.
so.
I feel like you do a pretty good job managing stress, though.
Yeah, but see, it's funny. It's not even saying this out loud. As we're talking about going from making 275 to 75, and then I started thinking, there's a lot of people hard. It's tough to make 50. You
Right.
know, and so yeah, sometimes we have a quote unquote bad year, and we're still living in our big, gorgeous house, driving a nice car, and doing whatever the hell we want. So I guess it could be worse, but I didn't. Yeah, I probably have a couple breakdowns like once or twice a year of like, like, yeah, where I'm like, boy, I wish I wouldn't have said, done all this, but we bounced back. You guys have had some hardships of late.
Yeah.
Health wise.
Yeah. My wife keeps trying to die.
Yes.
And
what happened?
It's so inconvenient.
Yes.
What's wrong?
Darn.
She just has this thing where she starts throwing up and then anxiety takes over.
Oh, really?
And it becomes a cyclical pattern. So she spent I would say 2 weeks out of every month for the first 6 months of last year in the hospital.
Oh, man.
And it's interesting how that affects your when your personal life starts to unravel.
Yeah.
And it's out of your control, how that affects everything else. And you kind of get faced with a decision, right? First of all, you want everyone to be okay and healthy. And we obviously have two different businesses, our education brand, Blu-ray Photography. I have a daughter who's in competitive cheerleading, which is very demanding as well.
It is.
And then when you see your wife just like laying in bed or in a hospital room, and I'm there taking strategy calls with my clients in the hospital room down the hall, and machines are beeping and stuff, and they're like, "Are you in a hospital?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's fine, but I can help you. What can I do?
Fine.
How are
We're
your ads
fine."
doing? Everything's fine. Look at my smile. It's genuine."
Yes. Authentic.
Right.
You had that shirt. It's something about a Cheers shirt, Beth. You might not have seen it. It says something like, I heard there was.
I thought she said beer competition.
Yeah, I thought she said beer. I thought she said beer competition. He's like a super cheer dad now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I always say that about us, though, hun.
Say it.
No matter what is happening in the world, no
Go
matter
on.
anything, like how much money we're making or how the business is going or the emails or anything, if Seth and I are okay, we're going to be okay.
Right. And I always remind myself that there's s'mores. Like, no matter how bad.
It's making me hungry.
Right. Think about it, right? Like, you're not going to ever be upset eating a s'mores.
So I'm cookies. I have to.
Right.
Yeah. If I'm sad, I like to eat cookies.
And now there's marshmallows with the chocolate in the middle of the marshmallow, so you just put it on the stick.
Is that any
roasted.
good?
It's fantastic.
I
I make
don't
s'mores
know.
in my kitchen now.
Is it a Hershey chocolate, though?
Better be Hershey.
Yeah.
You think it's Hershey?
I mean, I don't know. They don't say.
All right.
But I just
That's how
convinced
they
myself.
get you, right? Some bullshit chocolate from.
Well,
But
you
see,
said
the
they're good. We're
problem
gonna
is,
try 'em.
when you're saying, well, if we are good, then we're good. Well, when sickness falls in and medical stuff, and that's how you get not good. So how'd you guys fight through all that?
For a while, it was just survival, and I don't really know. I couldn't give you like step 1, step 2, step 3, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Most of it was just survival and trying to prioritize what I knew needed it. So most everything else that wasn't a top priority just had to fall away immediately. And I have a tendency to go within, like, kind of crawl back into my shell when that stuff happens. So in those moments, I probably need my friends and my support more than anything. But instead, you just kind of close down and just put your head down and do the things that you know you need to do just to get by.
Yeah.
But I would say if there was like one thing, it's staying focused on the top priorities. Like, my wife was obviously number 1, my daughter was number 2, then my businesses, right? I knew that no matter what, if they're alive and breathing, that's the only thing that really matters. And so I just had to focus on that and kind of let some chips fall where they did. And we had a couple people like cancel weddings on us, right? Where we didn't respond in 2 days, and they were like, "This is crazy." And you're like, "Is it? I told you we were in the hospital and that we'd get back to you as soon as we could." Like, but I'm literally still in the hospital. Like,
Yeah.
things haven't changed yet.
Yeah.
So we can do your engagement session, but just like not today. Mm-hmm. So that was difficult because you always take those things personally too,
Yeah.
right? But
That is one thing about our field. It's so personal, like
Yeah.
how you're a person, I'm a person. Like, that my wife's in the hospital. Like, be cool, bro.
right, yeah.
How have you been slaying it the past 5 years? I can hardly keep up with everything you're up to. So the Art of Six Figures is one of them. Mm-hmm. What was the brainchild of this? Because I like your story the way you tell this, but tell me again.
Yeah, so back when we had to fix everything with Blu-ray, I realized I needed some way to like actually be in control of my own marketing, because
Wait, what did I just say? The
The art of six figures, but I'm connecting it back to Lou.
I'm sorry. I'm talking about the second shot. Which came first?
Oh yeah, that was first.
Tell me about that.
So when we started doing off-camera flash and stuff with Blu-ray, people started being like, "Hey, we'd like to learn how to take photos like that." So when we started doing in-person workshops, and that's exhausting because you have to like put together all your vendors and everything and all that work just to get people there for one day. There's no continual revenue coming from that.
Yeah.
It's all for one event. So we recorded a workshop and then sold it on Facebook. And the funny thing is I had no idea what I was doing, right? I'm like literally like my students they maybe have never used Facebook ads before. They try something and they're like, whoa, that didn't work. They lose a bunch of money. But I was the opposite. I got lucky back when I first launched that Facebook ad and I actually forgot about it and was spending $1,500 a month for 3 months and got a call from my accountant and it was like, what are we doing here? How much, what are we doing? And I was like, well, oh crap, I forgot about that. Is it okay? Are we doing?
Are we good?
Wait, this is a bad call, isn't it? And he's like, no. He's like, you spent $1,500 a month, so you spent $4,500 so far, but you made $26,000. I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
wait a second. I didn't even know I was making money. So there's something here. There's got to be something here. And then at that moment, I just dove in and started to educate myself on Facebook. And
It's like the best, worst mistake you ever made.
right. And what I really learned was that there's this system called direct response marketing, and that's really what I teach. It's not just about Facebook ads. So our strategies and systems and whatnot can apply to any platform that has an ads platform on it. So Facebook,
Still trying to process
Instagram,
that.
YouTube.
Direct response marketing.
Right. So essentially we're putting an ad out there that goes, hey, do you want this? Then click here. So we're directly asking for a response, and that's kind of where that name came from.
Okay.
But it's putting out ads that give value up front to people. So most people, if they try an ad, they like boost a post. And that's like, I call that the donate to Mark Zuckerberg's t-shirt fund, because it's never going to really do anything for you. Most people don't realize that there's a business ads account, and then there's like the personal one that you have, and the business one has a lot more features and it's a lot more robust of a system. But I digress. So yeah, we did that one course. We made that money, and then I went and bought a bunch of education outside of this industry from real marketers that are making billions of dollars. And what I learned was basically a lot of what I teach now. And we then recorded a second workshop, and we had an actual system in place and follow-up going and all that stuff. And I learned like what's most important is not actually the ad, but what you do before you launch that ad, and then how you follow up with that ad. That's what really helps those things to convert. And so we launched the second course. We spent about $15,000 on Facebook ads on it in 6 months, and we made $100,000 off of it in 6 months. So I was like, this is something. So I'm like, I'm going to start doing this for my photography, right? I'm going to start getting my clients to book with me from this. And it's very different. It didn't work at first. It took me 2.5 years to figure out how to use Facebook ads to get clients for my photography business, even though I was able to do it almost on demand with my education stuff. So very, very different.
So what type of photographers are coming to you? What are they looking for? Wide range, I assume.
Yeah. We've got people that, are just starting out and have no idea, how to set their brand up for success. And then we have a lot of people that have been doing this for 10 to 15 years and what they were doing that was working marketing wise no longer works. Because primarily because millennials are such a different generation than we've seen in the past. They're so different than boomers, obviously, but
What sort
Gen
of things
Xers
that
and
make
whatnot.
them so different?
Oh, he knows all about them. Go ahead.
Yeah, so they're slightly entitled. They have a lot smaller and shorter attention spans. They're the most researched generation that has ever existed, and reviews are readily available for anything they want to buy, right? So they buy for the experience, not just like they don't want a photo session. That's not interesting. They want an experience. They want a luxury boudoir experience, or they want like a luxury family experience, right? It's not just come into my studio, let me take your pictures. They know that anyone can do that. So
Do you think that shoot and burn photographers are going to, like, eventually, like, that model of photography is going to fizzle out because of these type of kids getting older and getting married? Because that's not, like, in my mind, I feel like shoot and burn photographers, that's not a real experience, you know? Like, they show up, they take the pictures, they go home, they're going to deliver you your photos, and then that's it.
Yeah, I think, though, you can still create a great experience within being shoot and burn, but you're just not going to make as much money. And then you're going to cap yourself because people that have money to spend in that luxury world will never value your $99 session. But if that same session was, I don't know, $1,500 to start, now it's attractive because it's almost like a bragging rights type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? We have this idea where we want to take a bunch of women out in a limo, take them to a spa, have them get made over for the whole day, and then come back to the studio and do like a whole boudoir, like kind of marathon thing.
Dude, that's an
right?
experience.
With
That
like a
sounds
whole
like
bunch
a
of
lot
their
of
friends,
fun.
right? And so you got to pay like $5,000 just to start this thing, right? So we'll make like 50 grand, just by having a couple ladies there. But the experience and them going and talking and being able to talk to all the rest of their friends that didn't show up for the event is going to make them all want to do it again, right? And that's that kind of drawing power of pricing that people don't remember or realize is something that's applicable here. Like, if you charge too little, people that have money probably won't ever book you.
Yeah. I've gotten that place now, Beth, is like, if you're buying something online and it just seems too cheap, it's probably, it's in my mind, it's like, I want to go for that. I just started doing that late because everything's online.
I guess you're right.
So you sort of have to choose, like, that looks really cheap. If I'm buying a projector for the house, for the basement to watch football games, and it's $179.99, when I know there's $4,000 projectors, it's like, ooh, boy, is this going to break? Is this going to... So we've developed this mindset, too, with our photography, becoming more of a luxury brand. And I think the opposite of our fears has happened, is that people aren't upset with the pricing. They're actually happier.
Yep.
They value it more for sure. They treasure what we give them more. And then we treasure the experience more. So it's been a win-win for us.
Yeah. I always look at it like, take something that's really important and valuable, like your tires on your car, right? Everybody knows tires are expensive as hell, like way, way too expensive. But if you saw that you could get your entire car 4 new tires for $20,
yeah,
you wouldn't do that. You'd be like, that's probably going to kill me somehow, right? They're probably going to just fly off my freaking car, right? But yet we don't do that. We don't put ourselves in that mindset, when we're thinking about our own pricing and our own experience that we're trying to create for people. And if we just kind of step back for a second and realize that, and I talked about this the other day in my group, there's this concept of like features and benefits, right? So the feature of, me doing a boudoir session with somebody is that they're going to get pictures that they're probably going to love. But the benefit is that they could end up seeing themselves differently. It could change their life. Finally maybe they came out of a divorce and it was a really, not healthy relationship. And from going through this whole process of a boudoir experience, they're able to love themselves, and like it catapults them into getting the job they wanted and like just owning life, right? That's the benefit. And when you sell based on the benefit versus the feature, obviously the features are important, but when you sell versus like based on that benefit, that's when you're helping them to start thinking emotionally about their purchase decision as opposed to logically. And everybody, if you were to tell me, how much is it to hire you for weddings? And you were like $7,000. If that was our entire conversation, I'd just be like, holy, that's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
That's too much money. But if we have a sit down consultation and you walk me through and you show me why you're valuable,
yeah,
right, based on the benefits,
then
not
you're like,
just
that's
the
totally worth
features.
$7,000.
Right. Then they tell all their friends, dude, they are the best. And yes, I paid $7,000 for them, and I would have paid 15.
We've heard that. I have conversations with a lot of, it's sort of a female-based, the weddings are obviously very female-based. You're dealing with the brides. You're dealing with moms
yeah.
of both sides.
Even the sisters.
And so I have this long, beautiful conversation with a lot of brides. We let them know our pricing, which isn't crazy. I mean, $5,000 for a full day with 2 of us. And I say, well, if you get let me go talk. It's like, listen, if you turn to groom or dad and say, I found a photographer, he's $5,000, how are they going to make any correlation to the value of that, right? It's It's like a $5,000 watch is expensive, and a $5,000 Ferrari, a brand new Ferrari, is cheap. So it's not so much the money; it's just the value added. And
I
what
like
we're
that,
gonna
babe, because then you always say, like, listen, before you say that, like, I would love to talk to, like, let's say his name's Rick. I'd love to talk to Rick and have the conversation. And always the bride is like, oh my gosh, that'd be amazing if you could talk to them. And then
You know what's
that
funny?
would be
It's
so
not.
much
It's not
better.
always. It's not always Beth. It's if they. I've also had it where they won't let me talk to him, and then it's just like then the conversation's pretty much
Right.
over.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'd rather not. It's like, yeah, okay, nice knowing you. Thanks for calling. But yeah. So we haven't ever felt the need for Facebook ads for us, even though we started.
Which one's us?
Um,
Like for Seth and Beth?
no, I guess I was just Easton and I is what I meant to say. That's how clueless we are about the Facebook ads. Is we don't even know if we have a nice slate of weddings, Beth. So we're not dying for 50 weddings,
Right.
And so, but we are picking up in terms of weddings. I'd love to pick up the number of inquiries and nice conversations we have regarding like the headshots that I feel really confident in doing and really great at, or the family photo sessions that we really, really enjoy. We kind of lost our boudoir studio and when we moved homes. And so I still have the inkling of, I'd love to provide that experience for women in the future. But like you said, I'm trying not to spread myself too thin, like, did you go through elements of that where you're spreading yourself too thin amongst multiple businesses? And
Oh yeah. I think it's the tendency of almost every entrepreneur. You've got a good idea, you make some money with it, then you have a new good idea and you're like, probably make money with this. And so you just start doing a bunch of things sort of subpar, and you don't become a master of any of them. And I even did it within my own education brand. When we first tried to launch, we tried to make it like a membership site, but we only had like 9 courses, and they were very different types of courses. And people are like, this doesn't even make any sense, right? Like, why would I pay you $30 a month? I already watched all these in the first couple of days, and it's like, yeah, I didn't really think that out, So, and you can get really distracted and go down this road of like, I really think this can work, and you're passionate about it, and sometimes your passion can mislead you without proper direction and thought, like pre-thought of what you're doing, like planning and all that kind of stuff. And so I've seen that with when we first started educating it, impacting our photography brand, pretty substantially, where it's like, crap, now that one's dying because I'm focused over here building this one. And constantly balancing those things is always going to be a problem, right? It's always going to be more so or more difficult than just having one brand always, but it can be done. It's just that most people jump ship on their first project before it's actually successful, and before you build a team to sustain it. And once you've got that, then you can like start launching your new projects, right? But most people jump ship within the first few months or first year because they see a little bit of money. They see like there's starting to be traction, and that's the moment that you just need to dive in like 110% at that point to really make it successful. And people they miss that opportunity most of the time.
I saw you perk up. What were you thinking? Or that?
well, we were having this conversation off camera about the idea of like, I've wanted to communicate to fellow photographers in a sort of a masterclass video series moving forward, like the success we've had with connecting personally with clients, offering them products, letting them buy things, just letting them buy. And sure enough, they do, and they enjoy it. And so I have conversations with photographers where it's like literally not possible to spend a lot of money with them, which there's just not many. There's not many businesses like that. Like we're looking at an airport, and every time I walk on a plane, inevitably I judge all the people in first class, wondering how they're there. And they're not always paying for it. I mean, there's things.
You know what? Though I'm like getting so over it. Every time I step on a plane, first class smells. Like I'm kind of.
She muttered to me yesterday, "Does the whole plane smell like BO?"
Like
right as we walk on the plane.
The first flight was like bad gas. Somebody was gassy in first class.
I know who's letting them out, Beth.
Was it me? Like getting on, like crop dusting first
It's not
class
me.
back to
It
coach.
ain't me. Crop dusting.
Right? Let's
Oh,
take it first
Beth.
class.
No, I mean, things, you know,
JK.
like, Easton, I'm not surprised you say you might have spread yourself too thin because you're a hard guy to keep up with all the stuff you're doing. You're on Facebook Live all the time. You're partnering with every photographer ever, even the ones I thought were your nemesis. Right, Beth? Next thing you know, you guys are like, well, and you know the power of this networking.
Yeah.
So, like, when was the shift of, like, I mean, being on here is just incredible. To have you, like, when did all this start picking up steam? At least with, like, networking and partnering with other folks. And
Yeah, so it took me about 2 years of going through a bunch of different trial and error things, like what am I going to put out there for the world to buy? And are they going to buy it? And the only way that you can get to figure that out is by putting it out there. So many people want to put out perfection, and that just makes you never put something out for the most part, right? So what we started doing is doing beta programs where we'll take 25 photographers and build something that's sort of rugged. It's not polished finely. It's not fine-tuned, you know. And we'll put it out there and let them, you know, consume it for a smaller fee and then give us that feedback. And then we go back to the drawing board and fix the things that were broken, and we keep doing that. We had to do that like 4 or 5 times with the Facebook ads course. And that really helped us to dial in what was keeping people from seeing success with our program. Were we not teaching it right? Because we knew that the information was good.
yeah,
But the way with which we were communicating it was not effective, right? And so moving away from that membership site was one of the best choices, and just focusing on one thing, being an expert at one thing, Facebook ads, and then starting to develop that name and getting people to realize who we were was all based on getting people success first. So we just started to be like, dude, I'll just give you this course for free, but I need you to actually do the work, and like I'll even help you like pull it off so that you can give me a video testimonial. Once we started getting video testimonials, you can't argue with them. And then it's like, well, it didn't work for me. Okay, but clearly there's a bunch of other people that went on video and donated their time to be able to say how amazing this program was. And you're always going to have people that it doesn't work for in education, right? Everybody learns a little bit differently. And so I may teach from one perspective, and somebody else may be like, I could have 10 people in the room, and it goes over like 5 people's heads, but like the other 5 people get it. So you can either teach to every learning style, or you can, you know, teach as best you can to try to cover all of them. But at some point, you just have to be okay knowing that your program is not the right fit for everyone. And it's nothing personal, you know?
You said so many brilliant things right there, you know, just like the idea of there's like, I think even like Seth and I have struggled with this where like, like we hold back doing anything because it might not be perfect. And we get worried about Z before we even worried about C when we're on step A, you know? So
Right.
like, well, we can't even do this because, oh my gosh. And there's all these obstacles where like, I don't know, sometimes you just have to do it and you have to learn and then fix it and then do it and then learn and then just keep grinding it out.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So that, I know there's going to be so many people that connect with just like that idea. And then also like just mastering one thing.
well, when you say that, that's I know where he's headed, and so we have a same guy I do a different podcast with in terms of entrepreneurship, business growth, and investing. You know, he I guess I don't know who said this slogan the other. You know, do less and obsess. Like this is the grind after the first couple fun months. The grind that's just harder
It's harder. Like what you were saying, like
and not as fun.
Right.
It's starting,
year
getting
2
going.
of photography was so much fun. You had so much success, and then like year 3 and 4, you're like, oh my heavens, you know, like maybe I know like Seth and I like if we have down years, I always like look back and think like, well, I wasn't really working on business development last year.
Yep.
You know,
While it was a good year.
it was when it was a good year, it was so good. We weren't even thinking about next year. I mean, this year is so good.
Yeah.
So like that's one of the biggest things that we've had to learn. Not saying that the bad years were super bad, like Seth was saying, but like, you know, you do one every year to be awesome.
Right.
or even better than the next.
So what are these Facebook ads? What are you seeing them do for people?
So it's kind of crazy. We've got like a couple different things we offer. We have like our course, and that's more like a self-motivated thing. So if people buy the course and they go through the videos and they don't do anything with the information, it's tough, right?
That's like anything, right?
Yeah, 1 out of 15 people that buys the course never logs in. It's just part of this like starving artist mentality that almost gets glorified in our industry, where you follow a photographer, and I'm
Me too.
I did this before, where I look at somebody and I'm like, man, that's amazing, and then I buy their course because I feel like it's going to make me almost subconsciously be closer to being them.
Mm-hmm.
And
The same thing goes for workshops or conferences.
right. But then you don't actually do the work. You're never going to become closer to being like them or have that type of success because you didn't do the work. And I think that that's difficult because it's all subconscious. People aren't going, I'm going to buy this course and I'm never going to do it before they buy it.
Yeah.
Right. But that's just kind of what ends up happening. And I think most photographers don't realize, like, most of my friends in my peer group that make over $500,000 a year or more just from being a photographer, not education, they're subpar photographers, and they'll admit that to you, like to your face.
I think we've
but
worked.
they're fantastic business people.
We've worked toward that.
Being subpar.
No, not subpar is just not par. It's not perfect.
Yeah.
I think we've been fine with saying, I don't have to do the most creative, wild photo in the world.
Yeah.
I just have to make these two people and their parents and their friends happy today.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've really just,
You know what really was our shift, honey,
Go
is
ahead.
like asking the mom of the bride or the mom of the groom, like, what photos are you most excited to see after this wedding day?
Mm-hmm.
And none of them are ever like, I can't wait
double
to
silhouette
see.
on a mountain with a helicopter on
Right.
fire.
Yeah,
Right.
she's like, I can't wait to see, like an awesome family photo. I just want an awesome. I don't
those
have family
painful,
photos.
those painful photos
Like,
for everyone.
that is super important to me. I'm like, well, the mom, I'm gonna make sure you get that photo.
Yes.
Right.
You know,
We
it's-
have made an effort, Beth. I say painful because it's typically painful for the people in the photos. The brides and grooms are not in love with the fact that we have to take formal family portraits afterwards. But I think just this year, we've had a couple clients say how important it is to them. And we end up bringing like a huge light, a huge umbrella, like a
if
pro
mom
photo
says
lighting.
that church altar shot is the most important
Mm-hmm.
photo, I'm gonna make it the best freaking photo you've ever seen ever, and I'm
So-
gonna take the
and
time
and
to
you know what, that's funny
bring
'cause
the big octa box.
just the last wedding, you're like, we got to get going. We got to get creative. And like, they keep asking for these photos. We got this all big set up. Like, as much as I want to do these creative, amazing, throw them in the air, magma shots, this has been a turning point for it, of just listening, like what's important to them and then doing what they want, as opposed to so much what I want. How did we get on that though?
I don't even know.
Yeah, but that's
Subpar.
the mindset, subpar. Yeah, I guess not subpar. It's just like, I'm okay with like a couple great shots and not like just doing a photo session on their wedding day, unless they want that.
Unless if they want that,
Yeah.
then
Yeah,
we'll do
I think
that.
a photo is like, those super creative photos is how we got started, right? From being able to, do lighting stuff and then teaching workshops on that. And at the end of the day, we have like the whole art of the second shot, like movement that we built in Facebook group, and there's like 8,000 people or something, right?
That's cool.
But it's almost like when I first started, that was like the big push to try to like not just deliver the same old photos to your clients,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's important, but they're not going to spend money on those photos most of the time. Those really super creative ones, those silhouettes, they're tiny people. They're not going to buy those, but they're going to get those moments that you capture, right? And they're looking for the things that they can't do. So it needs to have a blurry background, and then the lighting needs to be good, and then there needs to be an emotional connection.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the things that they can't reproduce,
I never thought about it like that.
right?
Yeah.
So if the photos that you deliver to them move them, because, oh my God, that's the way my dad looked at me when I was a kid,
Yeah.
right? That you're going to pay thousands of dollars for, because there's an emotional connection. They're thinking emotionally about it. And so they're just going to want to have that, whereas they're not going to want to have that little mini silhouette picture, right? They may love it, but they're not going to spend the same type of money.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas it's like dad and, bride embracing right before he like gives her away, right? Those are moments that's like, oh, my dad.
Beth, you always get those shots, huh?
Oh, that's me.
Yeah, Beth's back there with the brides, and she knocks them out.
Even right now, I'm even thinking about it. I love getting. I really, Seth took a workshop with
2-man?
2-man. Was that it? I think it was 2-man. Then he comes home and tells me all about it, right? And so I never took the workshop, but I took it through Seth.
Yeah.
And everything that he taught me, that 2-man taught him, I have harnessed it, and I still like replay it every wedding. I listen to it, and I get myself all ready, and I love getting those moment shots. I love it. I know it's coming. I look forward to it, and I make sure I'm there. And like even some of the things that 2-man told you, like become friends with them, so then they feel super comfortable around you, and it's not like you're a photographer on the wedding day, but you're just one of their friends there taking the pictures. This isn't the photographer. This is my friend Beth, and she's just here going to take pictures right now. And like just getting them to feel comfortable with me, and then
Well, inevitably, you're giving them photos they don't even know they wanted.
Right.
yeah,
I remember Jen and Zach, or was it Jen and Zach? Or no, your sister Karen put a photo in her album, and you took it back in the vestibule of the church, and of course it's timely dad looking at his watch, and the bride is making literally the face like you'd blow up a balloon, and you're like, she's kind of going like
trying not to freak out
like that, and she does not look like her best. But she loves it.
She loved
She's
it.
like, that's exactly how I felt, like a holy shit moment. And dad, like the engineer, is like, we're gonna get this thing going because we have a schedule to keep. And so that's what you've been providing for our clients. How did we get on that?
I
don't know.
I don't even know.
I have to take an intermission.
What's up?
I have to use the restroom.
do it, baby.
You guys been holding me hostage.
Go ahead.
I'll be right back.
Go ahead. Beth, they do this on Joe Rogan podcast.
So do we play music right now?
No, we just fill.
Oh, we feel. Oh.
What do you think what Easton's saying so far? I've been dying to take that Facebook ads course for a while.
I think it'd be really great.
The
for
success
us.
stories he shares about just getting more leads.
Do you think that it would work for headshots, like a Facebook ad?
We'd have to ask Easton.
Okay.
I think for seniors, senior photos and family photos.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been under the mindset of late that, like, not of late, it's the last couple of years. It's like, it seems like every family deserves a gorgeous family session, and it's very rare if they actually take one. I never really started asking people on the phone, like, when were your last photos?
We need to start carrying more business cards. Like even that lady that I was sitting next to on the plane. Like I talked to her, and then as she was leaving, you could tell she was looking in my eyes like, I'd love for you to take my family photos.
And that's funny is I unzipped my bag to hand her a business card, but it's the salesman aspect of it that I pulled back. And I'm like, I'm not going to shove my business card in someone's face.
I should have just asked you then.
I know.
Here's water.
But yeah, I mean,
I can borrow some from Easton. Easton, can I have a splash of your water?
So how many people have bought this course, Easton, from you? You're getting
Do you think it would work on headshots? Do you think headshot photography could be a Facebook ad?
Yes, headshots. You can definitely book people, and branding, like personal branding type sessions, you can definitely do. But it's a little bit more difficult. So it doesn't work for corporate work because the person that is running the Facebook page of that business is normally a lower level employee, not a decision maker.
Yeah.
And so
Seen that now.
you can target those people with the fact that they manage the Facebook business page. That's an actual target, right? So you can target people like that in small businesses like restaurants and gyms, right? Like yoga studios, stuff like that, because they run their own Facebook page. And so that can be very successful when you take a targeting combination of the industry with which you want to, target. So it's real estate or restaurants or something like that within your local area, paired with the fact that they are the business Facebook page manager. So then you reach the exact demographic of people that you want. And as long as your promo and your ad is good and speaks to them in some way, like you can actually show that, yes, you do branding for them, but that they can actually make money. Like because they did branding, you have clients and they're on camera talking about the fact that they hired you. You came in and did all this personal branding stuff for them or did these headshots, and then it translated into dollars. But if you can't translate that into dollars for them, then it's a lot more difficult because you're just out there in a sea of photographers doing headshots.
You really know your stuff, man.
Does that make sense?
Only
Yeah, it just stifled me because we were
kind of.
we were doing video marketing, and we were trying. A lot of it is trying to sell the idea. You're trying to sell something that they don't even think or know they need.
Yeah, that's what I do every day with Facebook ads. No photographer believes that they could work.
Yeah,
It's a lot harder, but it's possible.
right, Beth?
Yeah.
I mean,
We're doing Google ads.
Yeah, those work really well too. They're just about 7 times more expensive, but certain people, depending on the niche and stuff, you really need to go down the Google ads road. Or some people, it's Instagram, right? It depends on where your audience is. So corporate work, if you want to get corporate work, LinkedIn is a fantastic platform for that. And
expensive though, I heard.
it can be, but you're doing corporate work, so hopefully you're pricing yourself accordingly, and you're making $10,000 to $20,000 off that, booking. So I'd spend $1,000 to get that booking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what do you want? Like, if they're on the fence about wondering about Facebook ads, what do you want? What could you tell them, like in summation, that you can do for folks?
So I specialize working with people one-on-one in the boudoir niche, and also in the wedding niche. But with boudoir, we have a very specific system that we've created that when we bring people on, they work with us for 6 to 8 weeks in the beginning, and then we launch and run their Facebook ads for them after that process. And I would say 95% of the people that we put through that program make over $40,000 in 2 weeks of running that ad. And a large majority make 80, 90 just off that first ad. And they have to stop doing ads. So it's one ad that runs for 7 days. And because of the system that we have in place with, we're not sending traffic to your website because it's content overwhelm. If you say, hey, download this free wedding planning guide, and then they click and it goes to your homepage and there's no mention about the wedding planning guide, you're just going to lose people.
Yeah.
Right? So we send them to a dedicated landing page that doesn't have an about us or portfolio button or, none of those other tabs. It's, do you want this? Click yes. If not, just leave the page. So it keeps them centered and focused. And then if they want that thing, they have to give us their contact info. So then they get automated emails that go out to them after that. But those emails aren't just like, did you buy it yet? Did you buy it yet? Did you buy it yet? It's, hey, here's Sally, who we had the privilege of working with. And she's been told her whole life that when she turns to the side, people can't see her anymore. She disappears. And so she's had this complex about seeing herself in the mirror. And after doing this session, she's talking about how it changed her whole life and that she loves looking in the mirror now, or she can actually stomach it, right? Because some people, it's a process.
So it led him to like a blog or something?
Right. So then they see this story, this video interview, and it's moving. It immediately triggers the emotion, right? Because most people struggle with their self-image, right? And confidence. And so it allows that person to borrow the confidence of the person in the video to give them that ability to take out that step and reach out to you, right?
I see. Like if it led me to a website, I'd like scroll through a little bit and then I'd be done. But if it led me to a video or like a story in a blog, I would be instantly like drawn to it and seeing like...
It still has to be captivating though, because I've definitely been led to things where I'm like, boring, click off.
Right.
But the captivating part would be this... like the blog, the story, seeing an entire wedding with the details and the getting ready and the ceremony and reveal.
So your big stress is video nowadays, right? You want your photographers making videos and hiring people to get videos of themselves.
Yeah, if someone sees a video, they're 65% more likely to click, and they're almost 80% more likely to convert. It's worth it, in my opinion.
Wow. I didn't know that.
The funny part is we have all this video equipment, and I still the turnaround. Obviously, it's much harder to make a video than a photo. So the process of getting a video out, we had a little studio set up in my basement just to like start talking to our clients, our fans, our followers, and we packed it up for Christmas and haven't really fired it back up again. But we had a good thing going, and so we've been talking about getting that going. Just connecting. Like I said, the video is incredible. We've been a big fan of it.
I really like that too, babe.
Yeah, so we should start doing more of that. I mean, we're doing it right now, so that's great.
Right.
and we'll cut this up and make recaps of it and stuff. So yeah, I guess we are doing it, but it's just awesome. I love videos too, and so
I think it gives people a glimpse into what the experience of working with you is like. And like all week I'm on calls with photographers and I'm looking over their website to see if they're going to be a good fit, right? And I see the same thing.
There's other people's photos? Just people's photos, I mean?
No, I mean like on their websites when they're trying to market themselves and position themselves, I'm reviewing their websites to see like how are they creating this experience? How are they informing their potential clients? And it's always the same. The start of the page at the top is just a big portfolio of a bunch of scrolling images with no words. And what I tell people is there's two reasons why people come to your website these days. One is to figure out what is the experience of working with you going to be like and why is it different than the thousands of other options I have? And then how much is this going to cost me?
Yeah.
When you hide your pricing, that worked 10 years ago. But you won't convince a millennial to book with you because they're going to come to your site for that info. They've already seen your work on social media at this point, right? They're not coming and they're not seeing your work for the first time when they get to your website. They normally have already seen it. So then they get there, they're ready for the info and they have not a lot of time and not a lot of attention. And so they need that info right away. And when you don't have your pricing, at least a starting price on your site, it causes them to leave your site, go check out your local competition. And if they even do ever come back to you, then they're going to expect and have these expectations of this is the pricing I should expect. And now you're giving yourself something that you need to overcome when you could have just told them a starting point and they can make a decision for themselves. Oh, is that in my price range or not?
I get easily turned off if all the information isn't there for me on a website.
Is or is not?
If it's not there. If I can't get a phone number, if it's hard for me to find like contact information, I want to know, I want to see a picture of the person. Like that's super important to me. Like I like an about, like a nice about where like here's the picture of what the person looks like. I'm like, okay, all right. It's almost like I need that credibility, like this is a credible person, you know. But if I don't have that right information, I get frustrated and I just keep looking.
Do you think we should be more upfront about our pricing, Beth, on our website?
No, I like having like the starting information on there, like Easton was saying.
We do.
Yeah,
We used to not to though.
Yeah,
we hit it. I actually think that
was the trend years ago.
We put it back on actually after hearing Easton say that on something else.
Yeah.
But I was like, I like what Easton said. Let's put that back on.
Yeah, it's funny because people say all the time, well, I don't want to put my pricing on there because that way then they'll inquire with me and I can close them. But most photographers are not salespeople. They hate being on the phone. So like it's almost counterintuitive. Well, then you're getting all these leads that are not really, qualified, right? Yeah. And then you're just wasting your time with talking to a bunch of people that are never going to book with you anyway. Whereas if you just put the freaking starting price out there, at least there's some type of qualification.
Yeah, yeah.
I like how you guys just said qualified in unison there.
Jinx.
Double jinx.
Personal jinx.
I think you're supposed to say blackout now.
Oh, dang it.
Is that what your kid says? That's what our kids say.
Jinx, double jinx, triple jinx, blackout. I don't even know what that means, but if you get into blackout mode,
yeah, I think that's bad.
It's over.
How can the 22 people in this world who haven't heard of you, how can they follow you?
So we have theartofsixfigures.com, the art of six figures, and it's all words, no numbers.
Or ampersand for Seth and Beth. Is that an ampersand? Keep going. You can't put an ampersand up there. So
ampersand is a cool word, though.
Yeah.
Why do they have to complicate that word so much for such a small thing that it is?
I've looked this up. I'm actually enthralled with so this is what nerds do, Beth. Is like I actually do research on like weird words and how we got to them.
Yeah.
Like catty corner is literally like some sort of French term for like across and over.
You did research on this?
Yes, like I was like, why do we say catty corner?
Yeah.
Like I have a friend that says there's multiple ways to skin a cat. I'm like, how did we come up with that saying?
Right.
But
why would we want to skin a cat?
What did we just talk about? What were we just saying?
Ampersand.
Ampersand. So yeah, it's the term is and per se. You know how someone says, per se. So and per se got squished into ampersand.
Well, that doesn't make any sense for and. Like Seth and per se Beth?
Right.
And per se Beth.
Like we're different people. like that's
Seth
just
and per se Beth. Kinda.
Like, kind of bad.
That should be our new. Yes, Beth will switch to SethBeth.com. The spelling would get easier. Every banker in the world asks me, "Is this an and sign or and in the website?" I'm like, you can't put an and sign. Just go try it. It's not possible. Even PNG, you have to write out PNG. So anyway, I digress.
No.
But how do they find you? The Art of Six Figures.
Go to our website. We have a ton of free information on there. I would say the best way is to join our group, which is called The Art of Six Figures with a hyphen, Learn the Business of Photography. You can find it by searching for Facebook.
Wait, do it one more time.
The Art of Six Figures.
Learn the Business of Photography.
What wasn't there?
Like a little hyphen in between.
Okay.
That group, we do lives multiple times a week. I bring in guests.
You're so good at that.
Every damn
lives?
day he's on with a video talking
really
to
good.
somebody from across the country.
I tried.
Well, guess I'm going to give you guys my exact strategy. You ready?
Ready?
Go.
All right.
If I give people exactly what I do for free,
They still won't do it.
they still won't do it.
Yes.
But they will feel like I gave them a bunch of value,
Yeah.
and then they'll eventually trust me enough to buy something because they know that the support they get when it's free is phenomenal. So I'm going to go ahead and step out on a limb here and purchase this course because I know that Easton's going to be there. He's not going to let me fall, right?
I feel the same way.
And so we go live. We talk about the exact process. I told some of the process on here. You know, we send them from an ad to a landing page to a thank you page, and there's an email sequence that follows up. We use chatbots all the time too. So some people click on our ads and it just pops up a Facebook message, right? And it walks them through like, hey, what are you interested in? You want boudoir photography or weddings and this? Okay, cool. Do you want to set up a consultation? Like all of that stuff is automated, right? But we teach in the group all this stuff. We bring in guest speakers. We talk about how to create copy that converts. We talk about retargeting people. Like, no, people don't know that if someone visits or views a video, right? You post a video on your business page and people watch 75% of it, you can retarget those people with a new ad because they watched 75% versus someone that watched it for 2 to 3 seconds. It's probably not actually interested.
I'm nodding along like I knew this, but you just informed me of that today.
So like I'll send a MailChimp out.
Right.
So I love going on and analyzing the data after the MailChimp goes out. So the people that watch 75% of, like today I put a MailChimp out on a previous podcast with an awesome DJ. So 75% of the audience that watched, wait, what did you say? If the audience watched 75% of the video, I take that audience and I do what?
You reserve them a new ad that kind of steps them to the next process, right? So they may have seen a testimonial video, and so that kind of piqued their interest because maybe they're engaged right now and they see a testimonial video, and that video is mixed in with showing flashes of the shots that you got.
Yeah.
And she's talking about how it was amazing working with you and it was stress-free and you guys really helped to guide the whole day and she didn't really need to worry. Meanwhile, she's talking about how she told you guys that she really wanted pictures of everybody in their Christmas pajamas, and then that's the next photo that comes up on that video, right? And so you're kind of nurturing them in that, and then they're like, wow, that was really cool. Then they see a new ad, and it's like, hey, here's the top 12 wedding venues in our area that you want to be shooting at, right? And so you've done your research. You know that in order for a bride to be able to afford you and that venue, they need to be in a certain income bracket, right? So then you only put those top 12 venues that you want to be shooting at on there. You highlight and feature them. The venues all start sharing it, right? And guess what? You've become on their vendor list without becoming on their vendor list because they're sharing about you because you shared about them.
Right.
And, and that's a valuable thing because most people haven't gotten married before, right? Typically their first wedding. And so they don't have any idea how to plan or where to do it or anything like that. And so they have a bunch of people chatting in their ear about, oh, you guys got to have,
live band,
this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing. And it's like, whoa, right? And so if we can come in there as the expert, as the, leader here and basically what we do is we create brand trust for these things, right? And as they're seeing these things, then that third ad is, hey, if you book with us now, we're going to give you a Giphy booth for free at your wedding. Because that way I know that every single one of their guests is going to use my Giphy booth, which has a CRM automation in it. And then I'm going to get,
50 to 70 numbers and emails.
Right. And I'm also going to book family shoots and stuff from it and couple sessions and, all that kind of stuff. So it's always a marketing right? You always have to be thinking marketing and in ahead of time, not, oh my God, we have no business. What are we going to do now? It always needs to be, I know what I'm going to do 6 months from now. I know what the promo is 9 months from now. I know that I have webinars scheduled every month with different people.
We don't
all
think
the way
like
out.
that, do we, babe, enough?
We're getting there, babe.
With the podcast, for sure.
All of this you're saying is like very new for us, but we're like, we know that this is the type of stuff that we have to do. So like everything you're saying, I'm like, okay, like how does this apply to us? What part of this do we want to start doing? Like I look forward to this. Maybe I should just, like, we have somebody that runs our Facebook ad campaigns, but maybe it's just something that I should just doggone it, do it myself. Because I try, like that first Facebook campaign that you put out, you're just learning everything,
right?
Like how to even put it out, and it did not go well.
Yeah.
Like it was just I got really frustrated the very first time, and I was like, I'm just going to have somebody else do this.
And that's basically what everyone does, because Facebook, for the most part, I tell members when they buy my course, most of the time, the first few ads that you launch aren't going to do well because it's a refining process. It's figuring out, hey, is this image something that people respond to, or is this copy something that people are responding to? Am I talking to my client appropriately? Am I calling them out on their hesitations and showing them that how those things are actually not true, and here's the correct mindset I need you to have? Because so much of what we do when we're marketing is breaking down preconceived ideas. Like, for instance, with boudoir, right? A woman may think that to do a boudoir session, she has to show up to that session with her sexy already on, right? And make sure that she's like ready to go and wide awake. And
that's like me when I wake up, Beth.
Right.
Got your sexy on.
But the reality is that the session, she probably should stretch first, because she's going to be doing posing.
It's like a full yoga session.
Right. And holding muscles and using muscles that she's probably doesn't use consistently, right? So the reality versus what she believes is true can be broken down through a video like we've talked about. She can see, oh my God, that was incredible to see. Like, I don't have to worry about posing because they take care of that as the professional. They do the hair and makeup, and look at that girl. She looks beautiful, right? And it's important to not use model type people, right? Because this whole thing is for the everyday person.
Real people.
And so you got to use real people, and you got to show that you can work with real people and bring out the best parts of them. And then in turn, they're going to tell the world about that, right? When you create that type of experience for people.
Yeah.
So I would say that's kind of the avenue you have to go down when it comes to all of this stuff is, what is the problem and how can I bring the solution in the ad? So what's the problem with Facebook, right? Well, remember when you ran Facebook ad, or when you posted on your business page and people actually saw it and you got tons of comments and tons of likes, right? Then when that stopped, people just were like, oh, I hate Facebook. Instead of realizing that there's a change and maybe I can be the one that jumps on this bandwagon, figures it out, and I could change everything. And that's the decision that we made, but most photographers didn't. And so I have to spend a lot of my ads breaking down wrong mindsets that Facebook actually can work and that it's not expensive, right? Like, we have people that spend $106.51. It's one of our main case studies. They got 285 leads for boudoir, brand new brand, right? They did weddings forever. So a brand new brand, 285 leads. They booked 21 boudoir sessions in a single day. Before, this was a giveaway type ad. Before they even gave anything away, they booked 21 sessions. And for them, at their price point, it was like $32,000 in revenue in a day. I mean, feel free to do it if you want or not. You're not going to hurt my feelings, but I make people money. And it's what I'm good at. It's what I love to do. I love to see the change in their personal lives because they finally got something together and systematically approach something. And that's true in any business, right? Like, and it's true in our marriages, right? It's true in every relationship. If you're going to put in the time, energy, and effort to make your marriage work, it's not going to be all beautiful butterflies and stuff all the time, right? I always say, like,
it is right now, though.
Yeah, right now we're good.
Right.
So good.
But like, you have
relationships
can be like 90% work and 10% like cloud nine. But if that 10% outweighs that 90%, then you're in a good spot.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like that's kind of what it is with our businesses too, because as entrepreneurs, the highs are higher than anything else working for somebody else could ever be. But man, those lows are so terrible.
Right.
Right. And your family doesn't know how to relate, and your friends don't know how to relate because they have their 9 to 5s. And so you have no one to talk to. That's where we're overrun with depression in this industry. And all of it comes down to the fact that like we need to have systems in place in our business for success. And we need to have community and accountability in place to, be like, Seth, like, what's up, bro? Like, why are you not, what's happening?
Mm-hmm.
What do we need to do to get you back to, your top peak performance? And okay, well, it's something personal. Well, dude, let's just go have lunch, right? We need that in our lives.
Who's your person that helps you like be accountable for everything?
So I have my business partner is an angel investor, as well as he has a photography studio. It's valued at 1.6 million. He does 130 or so weddings a year. He also does commercial, all that kind of stuff. So, and he owns a bunch of other businesses. So for
Do you guys like meet like once a week? And
at least once a week we have phone calls. I call him up and I'm like, hey, I want to quit. At least once a week.
Yeah.
He'll tell you. Like, I'm like, dude, and he's like, what are you going to do? Go back to like the real world and get a job? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, cool. I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, where are you going to go? I was like, I don't know. Maybe I'll just do marketing for like a company. He's like, oh, cool. You'll probably like start at like, maybe 40,000 a year. Because you don't have an education, do you? Oh, right. And I'm like, yeah, okay. He's like, so yeah, I mean, go do that. And I'm like, what? He's like, that's not going to work. You're going to be back. This is what you do. Like, it's everything about you. Like, you get people results, you make money,
Easton,
and you're
can
not
you
going to be able to do it
imagine
for someone else.
if you worked for somebody else?
Oh, I could never.
Oh my gosh, you couldn't.
No.
You would. I don't even know how long you would last.
Right. I mean,
You'd be right back.
like I have, I don't just work with like photographers, right? I have other vendors in the industry that I run all their ads for. Album Epica is one of my biggest clients in Italy, and I run all their U.S. marketing, run all their Facebook ads and everything over here in
Awesome.
the States, right? And that's a fascinating thing because big ships turn really slow. And so they're a $130 million company. And when I say, hey, I need a landing page, like 2 weeks later, I'll get the landing page, or they'll tell me, we need to do this, or we want to do this. And it's like, there's a lot more that has to go into like working with a full on team as opposed to just one photographer, right? One photographer, I can just be phone call once a week, tell you what to do, you execute. But when it's a big company, there's chains of command that everything has to go through.
Yeah.
And there's all these different people that have all their different expertises, right? And
I get really frustrated about
becomes
stuff
messy.
like that. Like, just get it for me. Oh my gosh.
Right. So I feel like don't do my course if you're not willing to work your ass off. And don't even contact me for mentorship if you're not, because it's a lot of work. And I tell people this all the time, and I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm just trying to tell you it straight.
Success takes work.
Right. And you can learn Facebook ads from a ton of different resources, right? I would say go learn direct response marketing, or go learn how to take control of your own marketing so that the entire lead process is owned by you. Because when you're paying people like the Knot and whatnot, you don't get to govern that entire process and get the type of information that you want from people and control the experience, right? And experience is everything today. Like, people want to buy an experience. And I tell people this all the time. Like, if you and I were to open burger shops right next to each other, right? You had a normal burger shop. Mine, I had a greeter that greeted everybody when they first walked in, and then let them know that we get all of our food from farms we locally source. And this week we got them from this farm, and this farm. You can read more about them on the wall over here. And by the way, 10% of your purchase today goes back to those farms. My burger can be $7 more expensive than your burger, and no millennial will go to your place.
Right. I'm dying. I love those stories. I don't pay for it.
Right.
It's almost like I want to find a better place. You know what I mean, Beth? The Whole Foods. So I love all that stuff.
I mean, this has me thinking, though, like the one-on-one mentorship that you're doing right now.
Yes.
Like, are you providing the right experience that you should for that? Maybe we need to take some time and map that out a little bit more.
That's a good call out, Beth, right on the podcast.
I guess that's one bad thing when your accountability person is your wife, right?
So I want to start using these two facial moves more. It's this one where I'm like, and then this one, Beth, which I've told you recently, this is a conversation Seth and Beth have in their personal lives, folks, is I want to use this more, Easton, where I say something spicy and I follow it up with, Have you ever done that once?
I feel like I do that. Like
Give it a
sometimes.
try. Let me see what it looks like
like-
on you.
Not as good. Beth,
No,
you try.
no.
No, I'm just like, hey,
don't think my tongue-
drinks tonight.
Well, how can you move it so
It's
quickly?
so fast. How do you do
Practice.
that?
Okay, all right.
Okay.
You lay in bed like,
This is a different topic now.
Easton, why'd you go there?
Boys.
That's exactly where I was headed. Okay.
I don't even know how this started. This is a very big rabbit trail. Like, it's probably a cougar or something. It's an elephant trail. It's
So
that
what's
big.
funny is
It's so big.
we get promo videos made of these podcasts, and all the boring shit we just talked about for an hour is like that's the one I want. That's the
That
last,
wasn't boring.
The last
How dare
60
you.
seconds. That's the promo video I want to put out to the world. So all right,
All right, let's all do it on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2.
you guys, no, Beth, wait. You cannot spoil it. You have to say something spicy.
Oh, right.
Oh.
You can't just do it. You'll be like, and thank you for what? Subscribe below. Okay. Okay.
Is this going to be your signature sign off now?
We needed one bad. It's like this. Oh no, that's wrong. That's it. Okay. Listen. Give Easton all of your money. The art of the second. Where am I going
Just
again?
let him do it.
Go
The
ahead.
Art of Six Figures.
And the Instagram.
Second.
Yeah, everything you can find us at The Art of Six Figures. So IG is at The Art of Six Figures. Facebook is The Art of Six Figures. We're not on Twitter because
I know. I can't get on that.
I know.
Hey, what about TikTok? You want to get on TikTok?
I probably will end up on it, but
At
I'm
some point,
waiting.
we all will. Yes.
I'm so good.
All right, folks. Thanks for watching the podcast. Thank you, Easton, for being on. We loved having you. Man, that was over an hour. Oh boy. Hopefully,
I'm so glad you guys didn't
We'll have
look
to cut that up.
because I was every.
what were you doing?
Oh, she's doing the tongue thing. Well, this is what I like to do with when my daughter was a kid. I would be like, push my nose, and she'd be like, I don't know what. Then you do this.
Oh yeah, you pull the ear and it goes back in.
and then you go.
Yes, I see. The kids love that
And then you go
stuff.
like this. Wait, this is the best one. Right?
All right, tongue games with Seth and Beth and Easton on the podcast. Follow us on YouTube. Thanks, Beth. Thanks, Easton. Love you guys.
out.
Thanks for having me.
See you guys.
Deuces.